Hey everybody, remember this channel has been shadow banned by YouTube for quite some time. So if you want to keep up with my hijinks or you just don't want to miss out on a chance to call me a slur when I say something stupid, make sure you subscribe to my channel and go over to my channel page and turn on notifications. There is a link in the upper corner of this video where you can do just that. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the America Guns and Freedom Podcast with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. As always, this is just an open chat. You can send in whatever questions you want to send in through multiple channels here, and I will do my best to answer them. Now, if there's a technical question I can't answer, pay attention to the live chat because there's probably someone in there that knows a lot more about it than I do. So feel free to do that. But like I said, also just chat amongst yourselves over there. That's why we do it. So there's a little bit of a community going on here at night. Got a place to come for every night for about an hour and talk about, common interest with like-minded individuals. So feel free. I usually like to start by reading the orders we've received in the last 24 hours. Hasn't been any in the last 24 hours, so we don't got to do that. If you want to go over and help support the channel, you like the channel, you want it to keep doing what it's doing, it definitely ain't going to do it through YouTube. YouTube's trying to get rid of us. If you want to delay that, I'm not saying stop it. I don't know if we can stop it, but if you want to help delay that, go on over to TYMPpistolproject.com. Over there, you can become a patron. You can join Subscribe Star. You can buy merchandise like this one here. We'll do hand stuff for guns and ammo. Times are hard. You do what you got to do. So feel free to go over there, TYMPpistolproject.com. If you become a patron, you can win a nice cold steel knife now. The details are over there on the actual website, and there's a picture there of the knives you can choose from. With that being said, let's go see if there's any questions coming in. All right. Today's the 25th, right? Stephen Sharp donated and got entries into the Marvin the Martian 1022 drawing. Daniel Pennant says, waiting to find out if the P320 is dangerous. Too many gun gurus saying it's dangerous. Spooky. Yeah, it's spooky when a lot of people say stuff, but they don't really ever back it up. It's really fishy. Well, not if you actually understand how proof works. It's not fishy. It's actually understandable if you have a good grasp of history with these types of guns. Well, this never happened with any other gun. Like, how it exactly happened with Glocks when they first got adopted by police departments? Exactly. Same type of thing, same dissecting how they work and all this stuff and how, these parts can, just same exact thing. This is nothing new. The only difference now is there's an internet to make a big deal out of it. And there's billionaires that want the people on the internet to make a big deal out of it. And then there's people in the gun community that are willing to take that money. They don't ask where it comes from. They just are told what they're supposed to talk about and what opinion they're supposed to have. That was Daniel Pennant. Come on, go back. Why is it not going backwards? Where am I at? Officer Tater Hater paid his $2 tithe to Phil, which is not much to ask for people. Where else are you going to get this kind of entertainment for $2? Like I said, to see anything even close to this, usually you'd have to go stand outside the public library and watch homeless people scream at each other. Old Officer Tatum is at his bootlicking again. Now he's after Lackluster for calling him a bootlicker. Tatum needs general population and some alone time with Bubba. Well, I don't know. Has he done anything illegal? Being stupid's not illegal. If being stupid was illegal, well, for one, I wouldn't be here doing this chat. I'd be trading my ass for cigarettes, trying to stay alive in prison. But yeah, stupid's not illegal. Johnny Mandrick chimed in and said something too. He didn't just chime in. That was a mess last night. I thought it was a P320 debate, not a whiny YouTuber trying to insult an older, better YouTuber. Well, I mean, it seems like that was his goal, to get revenge for, I don't know, hurting his feelings. And I apologize for hurting his feelings, because I don't really want to hurt anybody's feelings. I usually hope people can go with it when we make fun of them. Sometimes people can't. I always forget that. I'm not one of you young whippersnappers, one of you sensitive generation that everybody got a trophy and no one ever said anything negative to you. In my generation, you got your balls busted constantly, especially by your friends. And I remember one time in junior high school, we were playing football in gym class, and the coach turned to me and said, "Hey, you're my best catcher. Get out there and play." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "No, you can't catch worth shit." He said, "Why were you standing up?" I was like, and I was a kid, but I had to be tough enough to take it. I mean, I'm not saying that's great to talk to kids like that, but it was last year, junior high school. We were already like 14 years old, 15 years old. Your friends were saying way worse stuff to you. Your friends reminded you every day of every little problem you had. Heaven forbid you had a funny name, Marty. You know how many times I got called Farty? All time. I remember that one guy came in here and I pronounced it, was it Loon, Dan Loon? He got all butt hurt because I was pronouncing his name Loon. And like, it's just playing around. It makes it seem like you belong, like you're part of the group. But some people just be like, "Wah!" And I don't understand that mentality. It's foreign to me. However, when I run afoul of it, I'm not above apologizing by saying, "Hey, I'm sorry. It's not what I meant by it. I didn't mean for you to be offended. I meant for you to feel like you were accepted." And hopefully most people are mature enough to take that apology. But that was John and Mandrick. I actually didn't. Some people are like, "That was the worst chat since blah, blah, blah," or "That went so bad. That was a shit show." I didn't think it was a shit show. Like I said, I was definitely on enemy territory. I knew I was going to take a lot of shots. Kind of went in knowing that was going to happen. And I knew I wasn't going to win over most of the people in the chat. They have a deep, deep underlying hatred of me, which is what makes me think I'm actually doing something worthwhile. I mean, I always wonder, what is it they hate me for? Because I support people's First Amendment rights? Because I give money to charity, like animal charities, and we help each other out, and because we, try to help people who can't afford it get firearms? What is it really that you hate? Other than the fact that the big channels don't like me because I don't play their fucking game, and you take everything they say as gospel. It's like when he was saying, "Yeah, you got punched in the face at the chop." I'm like, "No, I didn't." It's like someone slapped the phone out of my hand while I was talking to somebody else, and then when I threatened to break his leg, he ran away. So I don't know how that got turned into, "You got punched in the face and we're crying, bleeding around the corner, crying on." I was like, "No, none of that. It's up. The video's up. You can go look at it and see how wrong what you're saying is. Correct yourself." But he didn't want to do that. And I don't understand that mentality. I just don't understand it. As I said, don't understand it. Where was I at? Who was I just listening to? Was that John Heasley that I just read? I've gotten all out of whack. Might as well try to get one last entry for my new stock. I sent an email subject shirt. I saw it. I opened it even. It's knives and shirts. So you kind of lied in the subject line because you gave me more than I was planning on when I opened it up there. I was like, well, I wasn't planning on dealing with knives and shirts. Then we got Mikey D chiming in. Mikey D. And he says, "For a chance at a different knife." He's already won some. "Plus, they ain't doing shit for the 2A. They might act like they tried, but SCOTUS could have nipped this shit in the ass a long time ago, but won't." Yeah, they keep saying like, "Oh, once it gets back to us, it's already a decided thing. We've already said this. You can't do this anymore." And then they continue doing it and they ignore them. And then they're just like, "Well, it's not our place to." It is your place. That is your place to step in when courts aren't doing the right thing. You're supposed to step in when they're doing wrong. Like if if someone in Alabama gets a speeding ticket and the judge sentences them to death by hanging, and they file an appeal to the Supreme Court, you're not supposed to go, oh, no, it's got to work its way through the lower courts first, and then we'll deal with it. You can step in. There's lots of chances where you can step in. If people are being actively harmed, like he's going to be hanged tomorrow, step in, issue an injunction, do something. They don't do that. They don't care. So I agree with Mikey D. Don't make me agree with Mikey D. Good Lord. He's old. I don't want to think I think like an old person. David Calderon. I don't know who that really is, to be honest. Probably somebody I would recognize by a different name. He got interest to the Marvin stock giveaway. Kevin Payton paid his $2 tithe to Phil. And he said, merch idea, t-shirt, Barney Fife holding a P320, putting a bullet out of pocket into it. I thought it actually is a pretty good idea. I'd have to draw a caricature of Barney Fife because I do it very cartoony. That kind of sounds like a cute design, actually. I'm glad I thought of it. If I ever get off my ass and do it. Johnny Mandrick chimed in and says, what is the best barrel length for carry? Well, it depends. Are you talking about semi-automatic or revolvers? Semi-automatic, 4 inches is fine. Because they count the fucking chamber and everything. So 4.5, that's fine. In a revolver, a 4-inch barrel gets a little long. It's probably the optimal length for the barrel, in my opinion. And it can be carried pretty easily, but I like to go to a 3-inch barrel, maybe a 2.5, just simply because the cylinder adds onto it. So it's a little bit longer, and you end up poking yourself in the hip bone or in your little fat flap you end up having on your backside when you sit down. As you get older, your hips aren't as, right above right where your leg and your ass meet, how you end up with a little bit of sag and some flap there. So am I just talking about, am I the only one? But I thought that was common with people. But yeah, it really depends on the gun. But semi-autos 4 to 5 inches. Which is the perfect length for most things, by the way. Or semi-auto or a revolver 2.5, 3, 4 if you really want to carry a longer barrel. Paul Bidenbach got him some entries into the gun stock giveaway. Gun stock. Remember, just the stock, just the tip. Hail Phil, any gun that you hear may be coming out getting you excited? No, not at all. I'm sure there's some that if I knew about them, I'd be excited, but I've paid so little attention recently because, I don't really want to spend the extra money on guns right now. I've got plenty of guns. I got to start thinking about retirement. So I can't keep covering like shortages on my YouTube account and buying new guns. And I ain't going to give up my cars. That's the only joy I have left in life. I ain't giving it up until they take my license away because I can't see no more, which may not be very long. I might be blind pretty soon. So my left eye's already on its last legs. It keeps going out on me. So this motherfucker. I got one good eye. Samuel White says, stock and knife, please. Stock and knife, please. Wait, greedy. Stock and a knife? That is greedy. Michael Sherrill. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name or not, but that's as close as I'm getting. Since your debate was a cash boom for the other channel here, dollars for you. I thought the other guy was wholly unprepared. Even the moderator tried to throw him lifelines, and the guy was too dense to take it. Well, the moderator was on his side of the argument. That was clear, and he was trying to do his best, I guess. But he was also, I guess, friendly with this guy. He doesn't know me from dirt, so he has to maintain that. But it wasn't like he was attacking me or anything. So I wasn't expecting any help from him. I did at one point say, hey, moderator, do you want to weigh in on this? Because moderators aren't, here's the thing, being a moderator isn't just sitting back. It isn't just sitting there going, everybody say what you want, and then it's selectively choosing who you want to support. Being a moderator is you're supposed to maintain that people stay on topic, or steer them towards the right directions, or ask questions. Though if you feel neither person's hitting the right points, you're supposed to steer towards those. It's not just sitting back and weighing in when you want to support somebody. That's not moderation. That's cheerleading. He did a little more cheerleading than he did moderating last night. Jacoby Neath weighed in here and said, yesterday's chat was right with suspense, Phil. And Sean Bain says, I think Randy has the beat us and us on denial. Has the beat us and us on denial. I don't know if he does or not, but he's heading that way. He's a younger guy. He's heavy. But although I have a friend who's a little older than me, definitely heavier than me, doesn't have any blood sugar problems at all. Eats junk food all the time, has no blood sugar problems. I think a lot of it is hereditary. And so, yeah, I just think a lot of it's hereditary. All right, here, let me get back to the chat window. That was Michael Shareel. Daniel Pennant chimed in here and says, personally, I need that shit giving to feel like I belong. I kind of do too. People don't ever give you any shit. It's like, why don't they like me? It's like, I've had friends of mine before have to explain to people that, you know, they're new to our group. When I say something about them, they're like, oh, the fact that he gave you shit means he likes you. He didn't like you. He just wouldn't talk to you. And there are people I just don't talk to. I remember my friend Bill was explaining to one of our newer people, he gives you shit because he likes you. If he doesn't like you, he's just not going to talk to you. And one of the people I didn't like was sitting right there with him. And I could just tell in his face, he's like, he never says 2 words to me. I'm like, yeah, because you're a piece of shit, James. Although I do feel bad because one of the people in the group that I'd never talked to back in the day killed himself. So maybe a lot of people didn't like him. I don't know. It wasn't because I didn't talk to him. I figured I might have spurred it on further if I'd have shit on him a little bit. Ben Coors chimed in and said, you may not be our real dad, but you certainly were Randy's daddy last night. Oh, don't say that. That sounds gross. Gross. Per Gustafsson chimed in here and said, yesterday was a shit show. I wish you could debate an intelligent person on the subject. I'm sure there's some that could, but they don't want to because they don't want to get involved in the shit shows. See, I'm smart enough to understand the basics of what's going on, so I can discuss the basics and I can discuss the facts if I need to. But I'm also not opposed to wallowing in the mud a little bit. That's the thing. Most people that are smarter than me aren't going to be willing to wallow in the mud. You know, they just don't have any time for it or any interest in it. I don't mind it. You got to remember, I'm part Greek. We love an argument. I'm Greek and Jewish. Both those bloods in me. So, yeah. Daniel Pennant chimed in again. He's awful talkative today. Effective alternative to guns for SD. What do people carry when they can't carry? An effective alternative to guns for self-defense. What do people carry when they can't carry? Well, I always have a knife on me. I don't really consider that a self-defense tool so much because I don't know if I could effectively use it as a self-defense tool. It might deter someone if you pulled it out. You know, they don't know that I'm more likely to hurt myself with it than I am them. So it might be a deterrent. But I really want to start carrying pepper spray. I just never do, but I really should. I have it in my car, but I should carry pepper spray. Everybody else out there, feel free to weigh in with. Maybe we could do that for our topic tomorrow. Your alternative guns for self-defense. We'll do that as our topic for our open chat tomorrow, if I remember. Don't let me forget. Alternative. I just misspelled alternative. Alternative self-defense tools. Well, I didn't spell alternative. I spelled antlertive. Didn't say I could spell. Okay, let's get back to the chat here. We'll try to cover that tomorrow. And then he chimed in again. What did he say now? Look at me getting upset. People paying for pets and vets. No stalker knife, obviously. Just trying to de-escalate Phil. Yeah, he gets pissy. I wish somebody would do that more often. He gets pissy. Colin Hepburn paid his $2 tithe to Phil too today, and says, "Hail Phil!" That's all you got to say. Makes Phil happy. You give him his $2. Well, $1.05 or whatever it is there. After he, fees and stuff, and then he's happy. That's all it takes. And then he doesn't fuck with me. Samuel White chimed in one more time here and said, more entries, please. Why has it took since 2014 before all this with the P320? I know they had other problems, but this has really gotten bad over the last few months. It's all about cashing in on the controversy, taking that money to sow doubt, hurting the gun industry without any thought whatsoever to it, because as long as you're making the money, most gun channels don't care. They don't ask where that Leviathan money comes from. They don't care. They just say what they're told to say. And it's the same with the Bloomberg money. Daniel Pennant chimed in again, paying his tithe to Phil, and said, the problem is well-renowned people in the gun world are starting their opinions on the P320, and yet they won't discuss it. Frustrating. It's like how everyone loves animals but won't give. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's similar. People like, I love animals. I do everything I can. I want to be involved. Good for you for getting out and getting involved. Well, hey, you can be involved too. Oh, no. Not if it's going to cost me $2. That kind of attitude is very much is similar but different to the attitude of, here's what I think. And then people will say, hey, you want to debate what you think? Nope. I'm not open to other opinions, or because I do a lot better when I'm in a situation where no one can contradict me. I find that I do better when no one, it's like when people say, don't talk about me behind my back, talk to my face. And I'm like, well, I'd really rather do it behind your back. It really helps my creative process if I can do it behind your back. If you're looking at me when I'm saying it, that makes it a lot harder. It's easier just wait till you leave. I mean, someone will tell you. It's not like I'm never going to get back to you. It's just you're stifling the creative processes with that. Who's this paying their tithe to Phil? I don't think that's their real name. In fact, that could be a double entendre. But what did they say? They paid their $2 tithe to Phil, and tell us again how much you like drag shows and how you think they're child appropriate. I don't remember that I've ever said that I think drag shows are child appropriate. But I do find drag shows to be funny sometimes. I mean, they're usually adult humor. I've always found drag shows, they're almost always in places where kids can't come. And if it's out in like a park, like a festival or something, then there should be very strict rules about how racy it can be if other people can see it. Public decency laws and stuff like that. But drag shows usually belong in a place that's adults only, because they're very sexually charged usually. I mean, not that you'd be, unless you're into trannies or something. They're very sexually charged. I guess I was right the first time. And it's very adult humor. I don't think it's appropriate for kids, and it's usually in places kids can't be. Now, as far as kids, like a drag queen reading to kids, well, I mean, if it's like Dame Edna, or what's his name? It does Medea. Tyler Perry as Medea. If he was doing a book reading for kids, like he wrote a book as Medea and he was reading to them, I don't give a shit. Good for him to give back to kids and entertain children. Now, if a drag queen comes out like, I'm going to read to kids, and they got on thigh-high leather boots and they're carrying a whip and a black leather bikini with big fake titties in it, well, then no, that's not appropriate for children. You need to go somewhere and change your clothes. And then we'll talk about rescheduling once we see that you're not going to be inappropriate. But if they're just dressed like a person or a caricature, usually of a person, they're usually dressed like a clown, like Dame Edna and stuff like that. That no person really looks or acts like that. But then I got no problem with that. But drag shows, those are for adults, not kids. So I don't know. I would love for you to point out where I ever said I think drag shows are appropriate for children. I don't remember ever saying that. Just like I don't ever remember getting punched in the face. Or saying that I was an ally to Antifa. All I said is I'm up here trying to be an ally to people protesting against their government, which I said on my videos multiple times. I don't have to agree with you to agree that you have a right to protest against your government and even engage in civil disobedience. And I love that some people that supposedly support a boogaloo think that people protesting should be shot by police. Seems a little weird to me. It's like saying as soon as we rise up, you all need to just gun us down immediately to maintain order. Those things don't reconcile with me. I don't know about the rest of you, but they don't reconcile with me. Let me get to the emails now. I think that was our last chat over here. It is. Now let me get to some emails. Oh, we got some super chats over here I need to get to too. Jacob Neath says, can I have a blue and pink cigar? I don't know which one I need yet, but it will be one. Phil has blessed me. Now I need to grow up and be responsible. Oof, that's highly overrated. And you don't have to completely grow up and be responsible just because you have kids. Trust me, I got 2 kids. They both turned out fairly decent. They have everything wrong with them that this generation has wrong with them. But but they're not always wrong. My opinions of what they should be is sometimes the wrong one. But hopefully it's a boy. Girls are trouble. My mom said she'd raise all 3 of her boys before she'd raise one of her girls again. Her one girl. Danny Pint chimed in again. Pint. Have you ever seen The Birdcage? One of my favorite movies and one of the best movies ever made. Robin Williams and Nathan Lane are masterclass. Well, I love Robin Williams. And now, that's when he was hot. Birdcage, Mrs. Doubtfire, stuff like that. So yeah, I've seen it. And I like Nathan Lane, but I was a big, and I like, what's his name? Oh, did Moe on The Simpsons and lots of characters on The Simpsons. He did Abu too, but what's his name? Something Ari or I'm blanking on his name, but I like him too. He's in it. He's their houseboy. Gene Hackman's in it. I didn't like, I don't know if it's just me, but the character of his son, the one they were doing everything for, I was kind of like, say fuck no and kick his ass out. I didn't like him in the movie, but everything else I liked. It was a funny movie. Jay Sagachode said, should adults be protesting on the interstate and get upset when they get run over? Well, if you run someone over intentionally, you're going to go to jail, even if they're jaywalking. I mean, if it's an accident, you run someone over, that's one thing. But if you intentionally run someone over, well, then, yeah, they should be upset and you should go to jail, because difference of opinion or being late for work is not worth murdering someone over. So I will not support that you can just run over people. In fact, when DeSantis said that, they had to walk that back pretty fast. state attorney general and stuff saying, no, if you intentionally run over people, you will go to prison. So, no, you don't have a right to run someone over. Now, if you hit them accidentally and they're in the middle of the highway, or if you drive away because you're in fear for your life and they don't get out of the front of your car, fucking run them over. But that's totally different than like, I'm going to go out and run someone over. You don't want to ever be someone that says, I support running over protesters, because then if you're ever in a protest and you legitimately fear for your life and you try to flee the scene and you hit somebody, they're going to be like, you did it on purpose. Here's several places where you said you couldn't wait to do it. So you don't want to weigh in on things like that. But if it's an accident and you're like fearing for your life and you're trying to get away, yeah, they knew the risks when they decided to engage in blocking traffic. They take some risk when they do that. What's I going to say? Oh, yeah. And police should be there on the scene to arrest them quickly. Traffic shouldn't be blocked for long. If it takes more than 20 minutes for police to get there and arrest people, well, then something's going wrong at the police department. They usually have knowledge that this is going to happen. And once it does happen, it's not exactly like it's hard to find. It's all over social media immediately. Get there and arrest everybody involved. That's part of civil disobedience. You're supposed to go out. This younger generation has this idea that civil disobedience is going out and doing whatever I want and then getting away with it. No, that's not civil. That's not how it works. The way it works is you go out and you stand up to authority, break the law even, they arrest you, and then you take your case to the people. They arrested me for standing up for this. Like, this billionaire was going to cut down all these trees on a mountain just so he'd have a better view. And it's going to, all the rocks and mud and everything are going to avalanche down onto the houses below. And it's going to destroy all this. And I took a stand. Well, that's civil disobedience. And you took a stand, you got arrested, and now you're pleading your case to people. And hopefully it draws eyeballs on your case. That's the whole point, to bring in attention to what you're doing. But it's not to just do whatever you want and get away with it. And I don't really know. It does draw attention if you block traffic. I will say that. But, I mean, have some consideration. Do it for like 5 minutes and then get out of the way. You made your point. People they saw pictures of you with your signs. They know what your point is. And then you got out of the way. And then people can say, well, they only did it for 2 minutes and then they got out of the way. Or they did it for a certain amount of time. They got arrested. I'd rather just get out of the way, to be honest. But it's just that it's not to do whatever you want and get away with it. That's not the point. But people aren't good at understanding gray areas. I am a mouse guns. Yes, I know I sent your patch today. It's on its way. All right, let me get over to the emails real quick, and then we'll be getting out of here. Sorry I didn't get to the live chat today. We got a lot of super chats. Not as many as that guy got last night. Mostly just people saying shitty stuff about me. But I didn't know Johnny B had AIDS. He claimed I gave it to him. I'm pretty sure he already had AIDS when I fucked him. That's why I insisted on a condom. But I didn't know he had it till last night. I was suspicious. That's why the condom. But let's see here. Bender. Okay, here's one from John Heasley, Shirts and Knives. There's his knives. He's won 2 of those from me. One he already had. The bottom 2 he's won from me. And there's his the government guns don't kill people, the government does shirt that he just got, I assume. I thought he already had that shirt, but I think he just got it. Winda. This was from Frank Rodriguez. Frank Rodriguez sent this picture of some Hanna-Barbera characters. What's the name of the pug under Fred Flintstone? Well, that is Bandit. That's Johnny Quest's dog. And I don't think he's a pug. He's supposed to be a bulldog. He doesn't look like a bulldog to me. I think he's a French bulldog. French bulldogs were a thing apparently back then. I didn't think they were existing in 1950, but apparently they came around in the 18-somethings. So I'm thinking he's probably a French bulldog. Doesn't he look like a French bulldog to you? I mean, they just said in the show that he was a bulldog, but I don't think French bulldog was a common term at the time. So I would guess that he's not a pug. He doesn't really look like a pug. He looks like a French bulldog. I've never seen a white pug. He's white with black around his eyes. That's French bulldog is what he looks like to me. And they say he's a bulldog. So hopefully that solves the great mystery. Auden 2 chimed in, says, just wanted to give you an attaboy on yesterday's panel. You made that dude look as stupid as he is. God help us if he's the poster child of the 2A. What do you think of the FN reflex? It's internal hammered. I don't really have any experience with it yet. I would like to see one, but I haven't really seen one. And as far as being stupid, he didn't strike me as the brightest bulb in the bunch. He struck me as someone who tries so desperately to belong. And I mean, what better way to score points with like the big gun channels like Mr. Guns and Gear, Guns and Gadgets, Military Arms Channel, and all those people, Iraqi veteran. What better, Hickok, what better way to score points with them than to slander me? So I see where he's going, what his goal is, but it didn't end up. You don't say I'm here to defend this or prove this point and then launch into your true point, because then it makes it like you just can't follow your own agenda there. Upgun website just upped his Patreon. He don't need to up his Patreon. Of course, he must be getting rich off something right now. I don't know what he's doing. Never know what he's doing. This guy's hand in a lot of fires. Not his hands. You know, what do you call that? His irons in a lot of fires. You don't put your hands in the fire. That's not smart. And you can only have two hands in the fire if they're your hands. And that wouldn't be smart. So I didn't really get that analogy very well there, did I? Ghost Shadow chimed in here with an email and said, as the video shows, the gun should not fire without trigger pull, even if the manual pushing the sear down does not move the trigger bar. Actually, if you do it the way they're doing it, it does move the trigger bar. So if you look at the sear, where is it attached to on the trigger bar? Attached to that bottom node on that node on the trigger bar. Also, so is the lever that removes the firing pin safety. So if you actually reach back in and literally push against those pins and move that, you're moving the trigger bar. And that would be, and I love how they say, and that would be conducive to jostling. And no, that's not conducive to jostling. Not at all. It's not the same thing. The gun a couple of times. I don't have time to show the video he's showing here. I've seen, well, not this particular one. I've seen a different one that's basically the same. But if you look at the bottom of that picture, let me see if I can share this with people. Let's see if it shows the whole mechanism. I'm going to try to share this. Okay. If you look at this, which I don't know why they're not showing the whole mechanism, because that's not every piece there. The trigger bar is not even there in that piece. Let's see if they show it. Right there. There's the trigger bar. And then they've got that on there, but they don't got the sear on there. Let's see if they got the sear on it. Let's see. I'll have to watch all this later because I don't got time to go through all of it now, but I can't even, when you do it when the gun is, they don't show it anywhere where you can actually see the mechanism. Here, let me show this over here. I'll save this for later. I'll watch this later. I'll watch that later. Where's that image I had? Let me see if I can show it. We're going late, I know, but I want to show this real quick. Desktop. Where's the picture? Aha, here it is. All right, I'm going to share this picture real quick. Share screen, window. Now, this shows the whole mechanism here. It's kind of set up here. And I don't know if you can see well, but here's the pin that goes through and connects all these parts. This piece right down here, that's this part. And they both connect into the same area right here. They're moved by the same area as this part right here on the trigger bar. This is not the best image to show it. I had a better one. I don't know what I did with it. But you can actually move the trigger bar by moving the sear. Now, if you disconnect everything and you just move the sear, you won't do that. But people don't really do a full scientific test. And then they don't accurately represent what their test even just showed. And then they don't show that it's repeatable. So it usually it's just that they don't represent exactly what they just showed you. So it gets complicated. In fact, like I'm confused on that one. I'll have to look at that one again. That one's from Sig Sauer or Sig Mechanics, which I guess is going to be pro Sig. So I'll look at it still though. I've watched the ones from people who are anti-Sig, and their videos are always very non-conclusive or misrepresented. So, but like I said, that's about it for today. We're a little late. Let me make sure we're still caught up with everything. The last one was from the person wanting to know about the drag shows. So yes, I got that. Got all the ones over here. Last one is from Sagachode, and that is not someone making up a name. That's really his name. Not his real name, but his screen name. He's been around forever with that name. It's not someone just made it up today to ask snarky questions. But sorry I didn't get to the live chat today. We had a lot of conversation going on, mostly about last night's chat. It was something. So I suggest everybody go watch it. It is on my site. It's on my live section. And of course, YouTube has already determined that it's inappropriate. So don't give me any super chats on it or anything, because they've already determined it's not appropriate for advertising. He shows the striker does not fire when the sear pushed down and the striker block catches the striker. Well, it should. The ones I'm saying, the ones that are showing that it still will it'll go off. Well, no, the way they're doing it, they're moving the striker and they're also moving the trigger bar because they haven't disconnected the trigger bar. So they're actually moving the other parts too. I'm not saying that it will go off in this type of situation you're showing. I'm saying that in the situation some people have tried to show where, look, it can go off, they're actually manually manipulating the sear, the trigger bar, and therefore the striker safety lever all at the same time. And it's like, well, yeah, you're just manually pulling the trigger without actually pulling the trigger. You're doing it further back in the mechanism, but you're still pulling the trigger. So, of course, that will do that. That was the point I'm making. The point you're making, I'm sure, is fine also. But I don't have time to watch it right now. But I want to say thanks to everybody for coming. Like I said, I apologize for not getting to the live chat. Well, I'm sure tomorrow won't be as busy because we won't have the fallout from yesterday, and we don't have the last day of the stock drawing and all that other stuff. So we'll do better tomorrow. Thanks for coming, though. I appreciate it, especially people who ask questions, even though I didn't get to all of them. Doesn't look like there's many over here, though. I think it looks like there's like 5. But we're going to be doing the drawing. We got to do the drawing. Okay, hold on. Got to do the drawing for the, luckily John Heasley said drawing. Got to do the drawing for the range boss here. Let's do the drawing for that. Before we go anywhere, I swear to God, I'd forget my fucking head if it wasn't still sort of attached to my spine. All right, let me get over to the questions and add them up. There's going to be a lot for me to add up here because all the, there's no way for me to separate out the drawing donations. So every time someone donates $10 to get into they get 7 entries into the, so it's going to take me a minute to count them. So just be patient. 21, 22. The winner is Paul Badenbach. Paul Badenbach. So Paul Badenbach, send me an email, says knife winner, and you won the range boss. So let me write that down so I don't forget. Cold Knife Steel winner. 25 July 25 range boss. Paul, I'm just gonna put B. So all right, just let me know. Send me an email, knife winner, with your address, even though I probably already have it, but people like, well, what do I got to do it again? Because I don't remember it and I don't want to look it up again. So don't make me do stuff like that. Just send it again. But thanks everybody for coming. I appreciate everybody out there and their support both last night and tonight. Like I said, we knew it was dangerous territory and enemy territory, but I think we weathered fairly well. So other than finding out that Johnny B has AIDS, I didn't know that, like I said. But thanks everybody for coming. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all again tomorrow, hopefully. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe till I see you again. Hey everybody, Yankee here. I just want to remind everyone that this channel is 100% viewer funded. We don't take kickbacks, we don't do discount codes, we don't take money from advertisers, and we definitely don't take money from big gun groups that want to tell us how to feel about things. So if you want to be part of the good things we do on this channel, please go over to tympistolproject.com, my website. There's a link in the upper corner, and either buy some custom merchandise or sign up for Subscribestar or Patreon. You can even get some pretty cool patches over there. So please go over if you can and help support the channel.